More allegations in the Rey Fenix AEW story. A mess between AEW and another wrestling promotion. New Day Heat. New Day Heat. And more. I'm Ollie Davis, and this is the WrestleTalk News.
Support WrestleTalk!
After months of Penta reportedly telling people backstage in AEW that he was going to WWE as soon as his contract expired, he is now officially a free agent. And everything's gone to crap. Penta's AEW contract was supposed to expire at the same time as his real-life Lucha Bro tag team partner, Rey Fenix. But because Fenix had missed time due to injury, AEW have added on a reported 6 to 9 months to his deal, meaning the brothers couldn't leave for WWE as a tag team at the same time. Something that Fenix is not happy about. Seemingly waiting for his brother's contract to expire, Rey teased on X over the weekend that he'll speak his own truth and implied that he received inhumane treatment in AEW. But because of contractual issues, Fenix said he couldn't speak on his situation right now. Well, that lasted about 19 hours because he then posted, "I needed a doctor and you ignored me for months." This appears to be the inhumane treatment Fenix alluded to. Fenix's publicly known injuries are a gruesome elbow dislocation on the January 5th, 2022 episode of AEW Dynamite, which took him out for about 4 months, and an undisclosed injury he took time off to recover from in October 2023. After dropping the International Championship, he had accidentally won from Jon Moxley, remember that, to Orange Cassidy. He returned in April this year, where he would then frequently wrestle on Dynamite, Collision and Rampage, but Tony Khan stopped booking him at the end of July when rumours of them leaving for WWE started to come out. Fenix's comment isn't the only allegation that's been made about how AEW treats its wrestlers. In his April interview with Ariel Helwani, CM Punk alleged that no one from AEW talked to him for 6 months following All Out 2022, where he both tore his triceps in the main event and had a backstage fight with the Elite. This meant he had to research, book, and pay for his own tricep surgery. Whereas if you're in WWE handle that for you. When Khan was asked about Punk's claim, he didn't have the best answer, saying, "Typically we do cover those medical expenses, so I would have to look into that, but no, I'm not sure about that. I can't say for sure." Lucha Blog, who is well connected in Mexican wrestling circles, has speculated that Fenix is teasing his backstage issues publicly as a way to get out of his AEW contract early, so he and his brother can debut together in WWE. But never mind heat with an individual wrestler, how about AEW having heat with an entire wrestling promotion? AEW and the independent wrestling company GCW have enjoyed a working relationship for several years now, sharing talent like GCW's deathmatch wrestler Nick Gage trying to slice open Chris Jericho with a pizza cutter on Dynamite TV, and big stars like Moxley and Swerve Strickland wrestling at GCW shows. But the relationship soured last month when a GCW wrestler called Effie criticized AEW for running the Hammerstein Ballroom so close to some GCW shows there, and said that Tony Khan's dad pays him to stay away from him. AEW then decided to pull Ricky Starks from his advertised GCW appearances. Fightful Select have now reported that AEW talent Willie Mack has cancelled his GCW dates this weekend, and that Sean Ross Sapp's GCW sources believe it's again because of what Effie said about Tony Khan's father. But Sean's AEW sources claim that isn't the reason. The situation has become so opaque that Fightful have now deleted their original story, explaining, "Just deleting the Willie Mack post until all parties involved can find out who is keeping who from what." A very confusing situation for everyone, especially me. I didn't even know Willie Mack was signed by AEW. But AEW and GCW, AEW and Rey Fenix, that heat is nothing compared to the scorching inferno that I have with Luke Owen. Because Mustache Night War, the brand new Patreon exclusive series of Monday Night War between me and Luke, has now begun. You can watch the draft day episode for free on Parts Unknown right now, and episode 1 right after on patreon.com/WrestleTalk. Then we'll have weekly episodes up there for the next 3 months. Here's a clip.
So I've noticed that most people listen to, like, oh, I've got a really good Pokemon themed cover by Kenny Omega's band, or
you say most people.
Or like, oh, I listened to Mariah Carey when I was a kid, or oh, I'm Luke and I like Scene Queen. You know, anyone. These could be anyone. But no one listens to toxic masculinity motivational speeches.
What do you mean?
Well, because I'm going to win. You see here, this is my Spotify playlist
Your
called Motivation.
Yeah.
Which I made for this. And
Oh no!
So, do you want to read out these track names?
Discipline yourself. Get up and get it done. No limits. Mental toughness. Outwork everyone else.
And who's... Because that's you. I'm going to outwork you.
Now it's time for my review of Monday Night's Raw. In about 5 minutes, Gunther kicked off the main show, about to cut an in-ring promo on his World Heavyweight title opponent Finn Balor for this Saturday's Saturday Night's main event, when Balor and his little rascals interrupted. Gunther had a nice line about how Finn was the best in the world 8 years ago when he won the inaugural Universal title, but he was just the best for one night. Gunther is the best in the world all the time right now. Unfortunately, I'm not vibing with Gunther's more babyface character, especially when it gets sucked even deeper into the Judgment Day's mid-card vortex. Damian Priest attacked the Judgment Day from behind, Gunther attacked Priest, and then the numbers game won out, with Finn hitting trois coups de grace on Damian to pose with both his tag team title and Gunther's world title. Adam Pearce announced that it will now be a three-way at this Saturday's Saturday Night's main event, thankfully meaning Priest will be in there from the start, rather than us all just waiting for when he inevitably interferes. Pearce also said that Balor and JD will have to defend their tag titles again next Monday against the War Raiders, with the rest of Judgment Day banned from ringside. Despite a neatly built story over the last month, Karrion Kross and the Wyatt Six unfortunately have a Venn diagram crossover in the cool acts that don't always translate to great in-ring matches. The 4-on-4 match quickly broke down. Scarlett Bordeaux tripped Uncle Howdy, which led to Nikki Cross spookily appearing behind her. But then extra interference from a returning Paul Ellering, who chucked a fistful of powder, let the final testament get the win, with Uncle Howdy taking the pin. This is the Wyatt Six's first loss. That had to happen at some point, but by doing it here in this standard TV way, takes away a lot of the act's magic. Liv Morgan then won a tune-up match against Dakota Kai ahead of her Io Sky title match on Saturday's Saturday Night's main event, finding an interference finish that is somehow worse than the Judgment Day. Pure Fusion Collective! Sonya Deville distracted Kai on the apron, letting Liv get another weak win. What a title reign! Perfect Fried Chicken then beat up Kai afterwards, leading to Damage Control to make the save and Liv to stand tall by laying out Io from behind. The interconnected drama of CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Sami Zayn, Drew McIntyre and Jey Uso had another effectively built chapter this week. First, we had a pre-recorded sit-down interview between Jackie Redmond and Punk, where he refused to talk about the favour he has from Paul Heyman, expertly keeping that plot point alive, instead talking about how he's confused about this heat from Seth. If anything, he helped Seth. He trained him. He shielded him on the main roster. See what did there, CM Punk? Ultimately, Seth did a good job filling in for him, but now Punk's returned. The second string needs to sit back down. This brought out Seth for a live in-ring promo, dressed like someone I would used to know from school but would actively unfriend on Facebook because of what they look like now. And what they look like now is a twat, where he explained his side of the story. Everything Punk said is true. Punk helped him get into WWE, but when Punk left, Seth reached out to him and got ghosted. Because if you didn't quit your dream job for Team Punk, you're evil. Which sounds like a bit of a shoot being worked into the storyline. Much love, brother HH Kiss. Seth continued saying the only reason Punk is here is because he burned all his other bridges and the money was right. Both guys are doing great work building this feud. I just hope they don't stretch it out for 5 months until WrestleMania. This was interrupted by Sami Zayn, where they patched things up from last week, and Sami announced that he'll fight Drew McIntyre at Saturday's Saturday Night's main event. Drew had cut a pre-filmed promo earlier confirming it was him who took out Jay backstage last week, and he blindsided Sami again in this segment. It's great to have Drew back. Zelina Vega only got half an entrance, and Ivy Nile was already in the ring. Gee, I wonder who's going to win this match? Lyra Valkyria, of course, who got a full entrance. She won the very choreographed match that was about 85% near falls to advance to the Women's Intercontinental Title Tournament semi-finals. The segment of the show, though, for the last 3 weeks in a row, goes to the New Day. Earlier in the episode, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods were shown arriving backstage, where production guys walked away from them, and Alpha Academy refused to shake their hands. WWE's moral conscience himself, Cody Rhodes, even told them to be ashamed of themselves when they ran into each other backstage. Interestingly, with Rhodes walking out of Adam Pearce's office, hinting Cody could be going to Raw in the Superstar Shake-Up. Like Luke and I predicted in our fantasy draft, go watch that. Kathy Kelly started to interview the New Day backstage, but they didn't like the biased way they were asked about Big E. So Woods grabbed a camera for himself as they want to show their own truth and march down to the ring. But they weren't able to talk there either, as the crowd gave them incredible heat, chanting, "We want Big E, New Day sucks." You could barely hear Kofi, and Woods had to stop speaking whenever he tried to talk. The only thing they got to say was that they gave us 10 years of positivity, and the crowd turned on them after just one day. They ultimately threw their mics down and left. I'm so happy for them. Sometimes audiences cheer wrestlers who've just turned heel, but this was genuine hate for their characters over what they did to Big E last week. It's so weird seeing Kofi as a heel, but it works. And the main event saw Rhea Ripley versus Raquel Rodriguez in an anything goes match, complete with crowd brawling, chairs, and a riptide through a table for Rhea to win. Liv interfered and hit her finisher on Ripley at one point. It wasn't very effective, but Io took Morgan out. Ripley was super over, and the closing image of Rhea and Io holding the women's title between them gave me hope that we're moving on from Liv's tired title reign soon. This Raw is 70%. Now go watch the draft day episode of Mustache Night War right now over on Parts for No. Here's a clip.
So I've got Gunther. He's going to be my big heel champ. Don't you? Oh my God!
Oh no, I just signed him for you! Because it's Snake Order! Oh, I signed him for you! You're welcome, by the way, I meant to do that.